Kellogg's Sugar Corn Pops. Sugar Pops are tops. When Jingles grabs them, you shout, hooray! He does his job the Sugar Pops way. Kellogg's Sugar Corn Pops. Sugar Pops are tops. Any time of day, just have a bite. Sugar Pops for snacks.
They taste just right.
Kellogg's Sugar Corn Pops. Sugar Pops are tops. Here's the box with nutrition, let's pour some out. You just add milk.
And then you shout.
Kellogg's Sugar Corn Pops.
Bang, bang.
Sugar Pops are tops.
Kellogg's Sugar Corn Pops for breakfast or snacks give you vitamins and energy you need for a day of work or play. And they taste like a million.
Pops are sweeter, crisper too. They're shot with sugar. Through and through.
Kellogg's Sugar Corn Pops. Sugar Pops are tops.
Howdy, I'm Big Yellow, and I'm so wild about Kellogg's Sugar Corn Pops, I'll trade my big yellow bird for a bowl of those big yellow pops.
No.
Trade me that big yellow taste for my big yellow cone.
No.
My golf clubs, my car keys. Hold on. What do I need to eat a bowl of those big yellow pops?
A spoon.
Got one. Kellogg's Sugar Corn Pop cereal, plus toast, juice, milk, and spread is a smart start to your day. Kellogg's Sugar Corn Pops. Those big yellow pops are tops.
I gotta have pops! Corn pops popping in my head like popcorn popping in my head. Kellogg's corn popping, it's all I think about. Popping, they keep popping in my head. Corn popping, gotta get a taste. I can't stop popping. Corn popping in my head.
Kellogg's Corn Pops. You can't stop thinking about that sweet popcorn taste. Part of this complete breakfast.
Corn popping in my head. Pop!
I look different, call it unique. Other cereals can't rock this geeky physique. C-O-R-N-B-O-P-S Lays up for gym, buff with crunches, which helps when I swim. Tempting in class, and yearbooks chill, with the sweet guitar all up in your grill. C-O-R-N-B-O-P-S C-O-R-N-B-O-P-S.
All right now, it's the big yellow taste of Kellogg's Corn Pops, as portrayed by a music video.
Yeah. Pop sweet glaze goes bling like my ring. That sweet puffed crunch is tight like my limousine. So yellow and delicious. Are you feeling ambitious for a taste that's so large? The cereal superstar.
It's a Pops thing, sweet crunchy blang blang.
The cereal is the dealio.
Big yellow taste, sweet puff crunch, part of this complete breakfast. You gotta have my Pops.
Gotta have my Pops, gotta have my Pops. Yeah, I eat corn pops like every single day. I love corn pops in every single way. Every time you eat a bowl, make you wanna say, hey. What more can you say? Better yet, think about it, what can you do? Nothing much but shut up and chew while you're dancing to this funky groove, hey. I know you like that. Corn pops make a excellent snack. So kids, you better hold on to your baggies before I come up and just start snatching. I'll take your pops, cause like Pop Tarts, corn pops, they rock. So don't be shocked. I gotta have my Pops.
Gotta have my Pops, gotta have my Pops. Gotta have my Pops, gotta have my Pops. Gotta have my Pops, gotta have my Pops. Gotta have my Pops, gotta have my Pops. Gotta have my Pops, gotta have my Pops. Gotta have my Pops, gotta have my Pops. Gotta have my Pops, gotta have my Pops.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the Vanguard. For Spike, Brett Kavanaugh's latest accuser, Cohen, I am Matt Wright, and together we are traversing the muddied waters of freedom.
Hey, everybody, I'm back.
I'm
I'm back.
We're both back.
We are both back, but
I'm
back home.
Well, weren't you back home last week?
Hey, everybody, I'm back on the show home.
Right.
I've been home for 10 days.
You have been home for 10 days. Oi. First and foremost, allow me to thank my dear friend Justin for the kava I am drinking on today's episode.
And allow me to thank Angela and Tripp for letting me stay in their farmhouse in Jasper, Georgia for the better part of a week. And also to Kroger for this delicious, purified spring drinking. It's not from a spring. This water. Bulavanaka. I was talking to somebody today, and he was asking about the podcast, so I put part of it on, and just from an episode a couple of weeks ago, and it was right at the beginning part where we were doing that bit where I thank somebody for the kava, and then you thank Kroger for the water. And he goes, "Oh, I get it. You're the muddy part because you drink the mud water, and he's the water because he drinks the water." And I was like, "Yeah, that's exactly yeah, of course, yeah,
yeah, that's 100% why we do that."
That is correct, Matt's friend. We totally meant that.
Yeah, I was like, man, that kind of actually works out really, really well.
We literally meant that.
That's 100%. I think
totally.
I think
in no way is that the first time I've ever heard that.
Yep, ISIS is trying to befriend me on Facebook. Maybe the NSA. Not 100% sure. I have one mutual friend. There's one photo.
Who's your mutual? Is your mutual friend someone you would trust to be friends with a blonde that only has one mutual friend?
Well, she's got more than one photo, but yeah, I'm still going ISIS.
I let them follow me. I don't accept it, but I let them follow me because honestly, like the government is already watching me,
right?
Like, or they should.
The NSA or ISIS or somebody just tried to befriend me.
Like literally, if neither the Russian nor American governments have tabs on me, then they're failing their mission in a major way. So it's really just bad news either way.
I just tell everybody that if you're on the phone with me, you're probably being listened to.
More than likely, yeah.
Already.
If you watch the show, that's got you on a blacklist straight up. There's no way that it doesn't.
You're at least on a Facebook blacklist.
You're on some kind of. They're gonna give you a heart. You're gonna get extra junk touching at the TSA. Something's gonna happen. So be sure to continue watching. So we were gone last week. We were not having a show.
Right.
And a lot of really interesting things happened. And the most obviously, I mean, let's just lead with the most important thing that has happened. Obviously. Ever. Which is that black swimming pools around the world are safe because of the heroic efforts of one Joseph Biden. Do we just play the video? Like, I mean, is there any?
I mean, so just so everybody knows, this is not something he said this week.
Yeah, this is a couple of years ago.
This is from 2017. Somebody found this video and released it, and just God bless them. God bless them for doing that.
Yeah, this is everything. If you were going to imagine in your head Joe Biden talking about a black swimming pool in the 1960s,
sure,
this would be that conversation. So, without further ado, here is Joe Biden saving all of us.
I learned a lot, and I learned that it makes a difference. This was the diving board area, and I was one of the guards, and they weren't allowed to. There was a 3-meter board. And if you fell off sideways, you landed on the darn cement over there. And Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Corn Pop.
And he ran a bunch of bad boys. And I did. And back in those days, to show how things have changed, one of the things you had to use, if you used pomade in your hair, you had to wear a bathing cap. And so he was up on the board, wouldn't listen to me. I said, "Hey, Esther, you, off the board, or I'll come up and drag you off." Well, he came off. And he said, "I'll meet you outside." My car, these were all public housing behind it. My car, there was a gate out here. I parked my car outside the gate. And he said, I'll be waiting for you. He was waiting for 3 guys in straight razors.
These kids are
not
enthralled
a joke. There's a guy named Bill Wright, Mouse, the only white guy, and he did all the pools. He was the mechanic. And I said, what am I going to do? He said, come down here in the basement where mechanics, where all the pool filter is. You know the chain, there used to be a chain that went across the deep end. And he cut off a 6-foot length of chain. He folded up, he said, you walk out with that chain. And you walk to the car and say, you may cut me, man, but I'm going to wrap this chain around your head. I said, you kidding me? He said, no, if you don't come back. And he was right. So I walked out with the chain. And I walked up to my car. And they had, in those days, you used to remember the straight razor. You'd bang them on the curb, get them rusty, put them in the rain barrel, get them rusty.
You all remember that, right?
And I looked at him, but I was smart then. I said, first of all, I said, when I tell you get off the board, you get off the board, and I'll kick you out again, but I shouldn't have called you Esther Williams. I apologize for that. I apologize, but I didn't know that apology was going to work. He said, you apologize to me? I said, I apologize for that, not for throwing you out, but I apologize for what I said. He said, okay, closed the straight razor, and my heart began to beat again.
So, for anybody who doesn't know, Esther Williams is a famous swimmer and actress from.
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought that was the Florida Evans from Good Times, and I was like, that's an odd reference to make to someone that's out of. She had a. I don't recall her being on a pool. She usually was up in the house. I didn't get that. So thank you for that, because I had no idea who Esther Williams was.
Yeah, no, she was a swimmer and actress. Apparently she was pretty good, but
well, to get a shout out like that.
Right.
So I mean, guys, who hasn't? Who among us has not been at the black swimming pool when the thugs show up to play some Marco Polo and you know, they don't follow the. Now he kind of had a weird aside there about pomade and a swim cap. Was Corn Pop not wearing?
That's what I'm guessing, is that Corn Pop had pomade in, and he didn't have a swim cap or a bathing cap on, and he was like, no, Esther, you can't get out of my pool. Like, the way that I envision how all of that actually happened was very West Side Story, with a lot of snapping. And when you're a corn pop, you pop all the way.
I mean, this sounds like if you had to ask a rural Iowa white child right now what it would be like to be at a black pool. This is the story, and you gave him like 40 seconds. Right. This is the story. But apparently this is in his bio from 2007, the Corn Pop story. So he's sticking with, this has been a long-running story about Corn Pop.
Interesting. My favorite part of that story is he goes, remember when you would get the straight razors and you'd mark them up on the sidewalk and drop them in the rain barrel to rust them up?
Yeah. You guys, you black people, you know what that's like, right? Getting your straight razor ready for the pool. And then the only other white guy said, take this chain that I just cut off the pool equipment for you and threatened to put him in a noose with it. That'll diffuse the tension.
That'll really cut back on the levels of tension happening here.
In civil rights era Delaware, this will fix it. Tell him you're going to hang him.
And all you had to do was apologize for misgendering him.
Who knew? Who knew that deep down, Corn Pop just wanted to be respected for his agency as a person? It's a heartwarming story, guys. Sadly, more than likely, if you follow the timeline, Corn Pop's probably dead. So I'm going to pour a little out for Corn Pop in my mouth.
We're going to do a quick shout out to Corn Pop.
R.I.P. R.I.P. to the big homie Corn Pop. P.O.P. holding it down.
Right. Corn Pop.
Corn Pop. There was only one. There could only be one Corn Pop.
There can only be one.
One love to Corn Pop. So speaking of things that aren't real and made up, and by God, we're going to be told about it a lot, Saudi Arabia.
Oh man, there were so many things you could have gone with there.
Pretty much the entire rest of the show.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
this was the next thing in the notes. So Saudi Arabia had their oil fields attacked by, was it a drone or what? I mean, I don't even.
I think it was a drone attack.
Okay.
But well, they say it was a drone attack.
Right.
But Trump came out and said, Saudi Arabia oil supply was attacked.
Oh yeah, no, so Trump tweeted. Iran, by the way, says that they didn't do it. Go ahead.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, Trump came out and he's like, Saudi Arabia oil supply was attacked. There is reason to believe we know the culprit, are locked and loaded depending on verification. We are waiting to hear from the kingdom as to who they believe was the cause of the attack and under what terms we should proceed. Now, it's been a while since I've checked into certain things like how our government works. I didn't think it changed, but I don't believe we're supposed to be looking to the kingdom. For orders on who we should be attacking.
Yeah, and so we got some hot takes from first from Justin Amash, the former representative and possible libertarian loser. Justin Amash says, under our Constitution, the power to commence war lies with Congress, not the president, and certainly not Saudi Arabia. We don't take orders from foreign powers, which he apparently has not watched the last several years or generations, really since World War II, where the Congress just writes off an authorization of force and the president does what he wants. Tulsi took it up. Tulsi Gabbard, who is definitely not going to get the Democratic nomination, unfortunately. She also had a hot take. She said, Trump awaits instructions from his Saudi masters. Having our country act as Saudi Arabia's bitch is not America first. And then she later wrote, Donald Trump, despicable, offering to place our military assets under the command of a foreign country, Saudi Arabia, is a disgrace and betrayal of my patriotic brothers and sisters in uniform and to our Constitution. We are not your prostitutes. You are not our pimp. Bitch.
Bitch.
I picture her saying, because she already said,
I mean, she said bitch once.
You just keep saying it.
She, both Justin Mash and Tulsi Gabbard are actually right. And, I mean, kind of, she's a little wrong on the pimp and prostitutes thing. Because when the commander-in-chief says go, you have to go. You kind of signed a contract saying that.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of are.
Yeah, it's either that or they go to jail.
It's kind of worse than being a prostitute, because if you don't do what the pimp says, he might beat you. He can't really put you in jail, though.
Right.
So, a little bit off there, but she was right that it's not putting America first to be a bitch. I just love that she said that, and I'm very happy about that. Now, Iran has said that they had nothing to do with this, but then there was someone. Matt, tell us about what Iran said.
So the commander of the Iranian Revolutionary Guards Aerospace Force, Brigadier General Amir Ali Ajizadeh.
That's nice.
Thank you. Said, we have been constantly preparing ourselves for a full-fledged war, assumably meaning against the United States.
Right.
And I think a lot of the rest of the world is kind of prepping for that as well. It seems like every week that we have been doing this recently, there's been another brinksmanship level action between Iran and the U.S. A drone flew too close. Iran took over the oil tanker ship, the British oil tanker ship. The Saudi Arabia oil supply was attacked. not by Iran, maybe by Iran, not by Iran. I don't know. And it just seems as though all of the world is sort of waiting with bated breath on whether or not this war will or will not commence.
Yeah.
And John Bolton is off in his retiree land.
You know, it sucks because, you know, the big news was going to be that Trump fired Bolton, who is, for those who don't know, basically the war hawk, or was the war hawk in chief of the White House, really the world. I don't think there's anyone who wants to kill more people than John Bolton at any given moment. I mean, he's ready to nuke China if it felt like that was necessary. Like he goes beyond being a chicken hawk. He is the ultimate. Once you've defeated all the other chicken hawks, you must defeat John Bolton, who actually just runs away because there's no one to fight for him.
Right.
But so when we heard he was gone, we thought, oh, well, maybe we're gonna not have that kind of posturing. Even though Donald Trump said I was even more hawkish than Bolton was, because what else was he gonna say?
Is that your Trump?
Yeah, that's my Trump.
Oh.
I'm Donald Trump. I've spent years, even before he ran for president, perfecting it. But so we were kind of hopeful. Thank you. But we were kind of hopeful that we'd have maybe a little bit less of that, and then this happens. So buckle up, I guess.
Yeah, it's anyone's guess on whether or not we actually go to war at this point. All signs seem to be pointing towards it. However, I credit where credit's due. Trump has not gotten us into a new one.
He hasn't, and he seems averse to doing it. He talks tough, but he's like Teddy Roosevelt said, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." Donald Trump is the exact opposite of that. He speaks very, very loudly, and then he's like, I don't really want to go to war, and I'm fine with that. Now, someone else who is incredibly critical of Donald Trump's foreign policy is Donald Trump. He wrote back in 2014, when someone else happened to be president, he said, Saudi Arabia should fight their own wars, which they won't, or pay us an absolute fortune to protect them and their great wealth, $1 trillion, which is different from saying we're awaiting from the kingdom.
Unless he's already got a backdoor deal planned.
To get $1 trillion from Saudi Arabia?
To get $1 trillion. But
that'll be nice.
I feel as though it's got to be somewhat like unconstitutional to hire out our military. I don't know. I honestly don't know the answer.
I don't know.
I don't know the answer, but I feel as though there's got to be some sort of rule in there saying that you can't just pimp out our military.
I would think, but who knows? I mean, if that is a rule, it hasn't been applied very well.
Except we don't know that we ever got money for it, though.
Oh, like a straight up, and we give you money for that?
Right.
Oh, no, that hasn't been done. But
that we know of.
Yeah, I don't know. This is when I wish I could ask Jason. By the way, guys, if you could keep Mr. America, the Bearded Truth, Mr. Jason Lyon, and his family in your thoughts and prayers, we'd all appreciate it. He's going through some difficult stuff right now. Should be back in the next few weeks. But in the meantime, we're thinking about you and missing you, especially in a moment like this, where he'd probably be able to answer that if that actually has happened. So we'll find that out later and get back to you. But I don't believe anyone's just ever straight up written a check to the U.S. government. And if that could be done, would that be constitutional? I have no idea.
I can't imagine it would be constitutional if it has ever happened.
Right.
But not that anybody recently has cared about the Constitution anyway.
That's the other thing is, would it stop anyone? And that I pretty well can tell you, it would literally not stop anyone.
Right.
Because nothing else that's unconstitutional has stopped anyone. So Speaking of attacks that didn't happen or may have happened, all these segues are going to be the same because they're all lies. A New York Times piece came out with a new allegation of Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh has been accused of sexually assaulting. Who cares? I don't really want to talk about this stuff anymore until someone provides some actual proof. We keep getting told this stuff. These things happen. If they happen, they could have happened. They happened so long ago that it's truly a he said, she said. He's already been confirmed. If the last 3 allegations weren't enough, then this one's not going to be. He's already confirmed.
Right. And I read a little bit about this when looking at the notes today, and I kind of had the same thought that you had on this. But I guess it's part of a book, right. And it was included in the book. And when people read it, they're like, "Oh, this is a new allegation. Maybe we can get whatever. Maybe we can get something to stick with this." But why didn't it come out during the extensive background check that they gave on him during?
Or during the 3-month-long confirmation process where they were, bringing in witness. Again, I'm not saying this didn't happen because it could have happened. I'm saying that it's not going to change anything unless there's any actual evidence that he did anything, which, according to the report, there is not. What is in that report is the fact that the last big accuser, Christine Blasey Ford, her main witness, who probably would have been good for me to put her name in the notes, but she basically said she was the one that Blasey Ford said was like her main witness, her character witness and event witness that this happened to her. And at the time, she just kind of said, "Oh, I don't really recall." Now she's saying she thinks the story was made up, that the allegation against Kavanaugh by Blasey Ford was made up, that she doesn't trust Blasey Ford, that she was pressured at the time not to say that she thought it was made up and that she didn't trust her, and that she, when she was presented as the main witness, and basically she wants nothing to do with any of this, she thinks it's all BS. So, Andy's already a justice.
Yeah, a lot of the Democratic candidates who we are about to talk about have been calling for his impeachment because of this new allegation. And our good friend Kiss My Bass on YouTube is saying this is coming out because someone wants to sell a book. Yes, 100% accurate.
Yeah, no, this is a book. This is a book.
That is all this is somebody trying to sell a book, so they threw it in there, and they probably don't have any real factual evidence. It's just a story that somebody said. The story is about him being drunk at a frat party and him pulling his dick out and people pushing him toward a girl. I think that's what the story is. I gave it about as much credence as I gave the 5 or whatever it was after the Christine Blasey Ford, when you just knew that none of them were real, about him being the leader of a gang rape party. And
Corn Pop.
What's that?
Corn Pop knew.
Corn Pop definitely knew. Corn Pop's the only one that knows if any of this is true.
And we'll never know because Corn Pop's gone.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Corn Pop. POP holding it down. So I got he's going to be a justice next year because this is all, and someone's going to sell a book. Speaking of those Democrats, those darn
Democrats.
That darn Democrat.
Allow us to be the first to apologize to all of our viewers out there who have enjoyed every Demageddon that we put on this year.
God.
We wish we could have done Demageddon 3. It would have been a nice trilogy. Could have rounded it out nicely. But unfortunately, social media did not want us to do Demageddon 3.
Social media really, really... They were okay with Demageddon 1. Demageddon 1 they let us do for some reason.
Facebook didn't.
No, the first one they allowed it. The second one had 2 nights, and on night 1, Facebook bitched out on us, and then the second one, YouTube bitched out on us and threatened to block our ability to. We'd still not be able to go live on YouTube. And then that magically came back, but we learned a lesson there. Just don't live stream debates. And so we didn't. So you all missed out.
Do not live stream the debate.
Just don't.
So you don't lose your YouTube channel for 90 days.
So we learned a powerful lesson. Speaking of terrible decisions.
I watched the debate without. I watched the debate without the joy of doing it live and making fun of it. I watched it and tried to find decent content to talk about after the debate.
So what was your takeaway from the debate?
First of all, big shout out goes to ABC's Lindsay Davis, who had the best quote of the entire night when talking to Kamala Harris. She said, "You used to oppose the legalization of marijuana. Now you don't. You used to oppose outside investigations of police shootings. Now you don't. You've said that you changed on these and other things because you were swimming against the current, and thankfully the currents have changed. But when you had the power, why didn't you try to affect change then?" And Kamala Harris, her face looked like somebody hit her with a fish.
Because she wasn't expecting that.
No, she was not expecting that whatsoever. It was just like, and she came back with a lot of my record's been, kind of mishandled. And no, it wasn't mishandled. You mishandled it. You mishandled evidence. You held stuff back. You screwed yourself in this situation. And it took a lifetime of you screwing your way to the top to finally figure out that everything you did was wrong.
Right. And this was like when Tulsi just took her apart and talked about the time that she was prosecuting a death penalty case and refused to release evidence that would exonerate him, the defendant. Even after the court ordered her to release it, she still fought releasing it. Now, if you're a prosecutor, your job is to prosecute and bring about convictions. But ultimately, if the person's not guilty, your job is not to prosecute them. If you find evidence that this person didn't do it, not only would you hand that off to the defendant, but you would be coming forward and saying, Your Honor, we clearly messed up. We found some evidence that this person probably didn't do it. And so we're going to, we're going to decline our whatever it's called. We're going to end our prosecution. We're not going to prosecute anymore. This person is we believe they're either not guilty or we don't have sufficient evidence to prove that they're guilty. What she did was she didn't only not do that, she wouldn't even release it to the defense. So, I mean, Kamala Harris is a cop. Like, just straight up. Like, she's a vindictive... She's the cop that sleeps her way through the force. She's like the worst potential type of cop.
In the military, they would have referred to her as a field mattress.
Okay. And probably similar thing for cops.
Right.
She was a cop thought. And cop thought. Hashtag cop thought. And now she wants to be president cop thought. And American people don't want it. Which is why now it's almost a dead heat between Elizabeth Warren and Joe Biden in some polls. Right. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Speaking of other black Democrat candidates who literally suck.
So while I was watching, I was going through and I was trying to find fun things to talk about that each candidate said, and some of them made it very difficult.
Right.
I'm gonna big shout out to Pete Buttigieg, who, even though nothing he said was intelligent, nothing he said was so dumb that I thought I should write this down.
Good job, Pete.
Good job, Pete.
Mayor Pete.
But Cory Booker, he came out the gate swinging, and he said the number one reason government is formed is to protect citizenry. The number one reason government is formed is to protect citizenry.
Bang up job they've done of that, by the way.
Right. Just fantastic job. Just ask Kamala Harris how well they did protecting the citizenry under her watch. That's not why government is formed.
No.
The reason the Constitution was meant to protect the people from government, not the government's job to protect the people. I understand that this seems like one of those weird loops that just kind of goes back and forth into the same, what's that thing called? I can't think of the word of that.
Infinity symbol?
No, not that, but yes.
That's what I call. I know there's a term for it, but I call it the infinity symbol.
Right. We'll go with that. It's the infinity symbol of just constant thought of just going back and forth. The government wasn't put in place to protect citizenry. That is not what the government has been for. That is what the government has tried to turn themselves into, but they do just a fucking bang up job. They do a bang up job because they put people in jail for nonviolent crimes. They put people in jail for truancy. They put people in jail. They just put people in jail. They're just protecting people from nothing when they just need to protect them from the government.
Yeah. So Sarah Branyan, hey Sarah, says, my how they forgave Warren for the native thing. It's okay for her to lie about being a minority. I can't believe that is being let slide. Not only did she lie about being a minority, she lied multiple times in order to get jobs and favors. Like, it was bad enough when Rachel Dolezal pretended to be black, which in some cases actually, like when she applied for her job as a professor at an HBCU, it actually hurt her chances of it. And becoming the head of her local NAACP. There are a lot of white people that are heads of local NAACPs. So it never really, I mean, you could argue that it advanced her position, but she never just straight up said, hire me because I'm black. Liz Warren used it a lot. Like a lot of times saying, hire me because I'm native. I want this thing because I'm native. She even put it in her bar application that she was native. Like she tried to milk it for everything that she was worth, knowing that she was 1,024th native, maybe. And so
Sarah is in the ER.
Oh,
Shout
gosh.
out Sarah. Hope everything's okay.
Yeah, we hope you're okay.
I can't promise to keep it PC.
We will keep it not X. Can we say thought?
Cop thought?
Cop thought? You can just
Man,
tell
it's
me
a good thing we didn't do the intro that I suggested we do if she wanted us to keep it PC.
Yeah.
The Aristocrats intro?
Oh, gosh. I forgot about that. Yeah, we'll do that next one.
Right.
We'll do that in the next one. So, yeah, no, we'll keep it. We'll probably just stop saying thought.
Thought? There's nothing wrong with.
Well, I mean,
if you're a cop thought, does that mean you're a thought police?
Well, like Bath says, if she breathes, she a thought, which is true.
Right.
But I like that thought, please. So speaking of the thought, please, I bet maybe she was a thought in her day. We were supposed to stop saying this. Liz Warren said, "I've never met anyone out on the reservation." I added that who likes their insurance company, because of course, that's definitely a reason to make the government, who has like a 17% approval rating, put them in charge of insurance.
Since everybody on the Democratic debate field is, with the exception of Joe Biden and Klobuchar, every single one of them is fighting for Medicare for all.
Right.
And they're saying that we need Medicare for all. Bernie waving his magic finger, $30 trillion, talking about Medicare for all and how we need to do it. And Elizabeth Warren, when talking about why people shouldn't have the choice between keeping their private insurance or everybody switching to Medicare for all, she said, I've never met anyone who likes their insurance company. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know the 17% of people who approve of Congress but apparently there is 17% of people who do approve of how Congress is acting. I have never met anybody who approves of them.
I've never, in any Congress.
Ever.
Yeah, ever.
Ever.
I believe they exist.
I have heard of people who have said, I'm really glad that my insurance company helped me out with this, or that I had insurance when this happened.
Right.
I have never once heard somebody say, man, I'm really glad Congress did this.
Or that they exist. Yeah.
You're saying nobody likes their insurance company, and then you're putting that into something that has less approval rating than Nickelback. STDs have a higher approval rating than Congress.
Well, they're now using HIV to cure sickle cell. So just to be fair, I don't know how that really works, but I saw HIV and sickle cell together.
It's an odd pairing.
It is. Apparently, they're the opposites of each other.
Right.
They're the Joe Biden and corn pop of diseases, if you will. And when you put the HIV in, it goes over to the sickle cell and says, "Hey, Esther Williams, get out of that artery."
Right.
And then it says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I called you Esther Williams." And then
the sickle cell
you don't
takes
have,
over.
and then you don't have sickle cell anymore.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
Julian Castro
has a similar story.
Has a very similar story. In his defense of Medicare for all, his example was my grandmother, or as he would probably say normally, abuela. My abuela had type 2 diabetes, and it kept getting worse and worse. And then in his defense of Medicare for all, he goes, she was on Medicare. So wait a minute, you watched her type 2 diabetes get worse and worse while she was on Medicare, and you're thinking, wait a minute, this is what's best for everybody.
You know who needs this? Everybody.
Everyone. Every single person out there needs this, because they could not help my grandmother, my poor abuela.
Mi abuela.
Mi abuela with her type 2 diabetes, or type 2 diabetes. But they're going to be able to help everybody else.
Medicare por todos y diabetes.
Author Max Meek says they all get worse in the system. That is 100% accurate.
Yep.
Yeah, that one I really like, because while in his defense of Medicare for all, he told a story about how while his grandmother was on Medicare, she couldn't get better.
That makes sense.
It does.
Por mi abuelita.
That's right.
Chris Reynolds says conservatives like evangelicals who hate Trump, of which there are not many, Chris, but you would think there would be more. But anyway, but won't vote for a perceived socialist. Will vote for a more centrist candidate like Biden, especially older voters, and a Harris running mate works well. Yeah, I mean, sure. I'd still say Biden probably does the. I don't even know. I don't see any of them beating Trump. I see the economy beating Trump. I
see the economy, or if he goes to war with Iran.
If he goes to a war with Iran, as you've brought up in the past, that actually makes him more likely to win, because no one who's been in an active new war has not been reelected.
That's true.
So there's your nightmare scenario. We're in a recession, and so Trump's gets it in his ear that'll help him get reelected, and now we're at war. And poor Julian Castro's abuelita.
Abuela.
Para
Mi
diabetes. Diabetes.
Mi abuela y tipo 2 diabetes.
Tipo 2. Diabetes 2.
Tipo 2.
Tipo 2.
Para
Medicare.
But yeah, most everybody, like Bernie Sanders, I couldn't find one dumb thing that he said. Everything he said was dumb. The only thing about him is he didn't have his voice, so his voice was even more raspy, which I found hilarious.
Oh, we're gonna do it. It's not acceptable.
$30 trillion. It's gonna cost $30 trillion.
1% got 1%, 50% of the 1% of the atomic top.
But it's still gonna cost less than the $50 trillion that it's already gonna cost.
You know what the travesty is that the people don't got the things at the bottom, 50% that the people at the top of the 50% got the things.
So I actually don't have one quote from Bernie from that entire thing, except for I wrote the damn bill. I wrote the damn bill, which Klobuchar had a great response to of, you may have wrote the damn bill, but I read the damn bill.
Oh.
And I was like, hey, nice job, Amy.
Now eat this salad. With this,
here's my comb.
Hairbrush. Eat this comb salad.
And after you eat the salad, comb your hair, Bernie.
I comb my damn hair. So speaking of just a bitch, just a total bitch-made loser schmuck, Robert O'Rourke, who some refer to.
Oh, you mean
as
Francis?
Francis Robert, the burglar, DUI.
The alcoholic burglar. Oh no.
Alcoholic burglar, sucky punk, alternative wannabe loser schmuck, douchebag, basic white dad. Beto O'Rourke, Robert Francis, whatever the hell his name is, gave his famous quote. We said, hell yeah, we're gonna take your AR-15s and your AK-47s. You're gonna have to. They're weapons of war, so you're gonna have to sell it to the government. And the problem is, Beto, I don't think I can sell it to you. I did a bit of a background check on the government, and you guys have killed lots and lots of people, and have kidnapped a bunch of people and robbed a bunch of people. I don't think my AR-15s, which I don't have because I lost them in a tragic thing that happened. I don't think my guns are safe. If I had them, are safe in your hands.
All of my guns I lost during a hurricane recently.
Yeah, Dorian. I actually lost him way before that.
Yeah, I mean, I lost him like Irma days.
I lost him in Hugo. I was 88. It was a rough year for me. I was 6 years old, lost all my guns. Sad. But if I did have them, in fact, I'm glad, Beto, that Hugo took them, because I now don't have to face giving them to the likes of you.
You know, and Beto, who is going for the record amount of times where he says things that obviously never happened, said that he went to a gun show. He went to a gun show and he was talking to people at this gun show, people who were selling AR-15s, people who were buying AR-15s. And he said, these are people who really, I wish I had a good Beto. I really wish I did. But these are people who, you know, obviously we're not going to see eye to eye, but we did find some common ground. And some of them said that they would be happy to sell their guns back to the government
at a gun show.
At a gun show, which you can't do because the government never owned it. You can't sell something back to somebody, right, which from whence it did not come.
From whence
it did not come. And he said that they would be happy to destroy them, cut them in half, or sell them back if that was the law. And I said, no, that didn't happen. That's much like the bull crap story you said about the Republican guy at the restaurant who was talking to you at the urinal.
In the urinal?
At the urinal, which shout out to whichever fan or follower or whatever person who was lucky enough to like our page before.
Back when that was allowed.
Who commented and said, I've been in that restaurant. I've been in that restroom. There's no way somebody was talking to you at that urinal because they have huge walls in between them.
That's funny. Who talks? Oh, are you Beto? Hey, man. Great job on the guns.
He said it was a guy, it was a Republican in Congress that was saying, he was like, hey, can't say, like, I know this is weird. I'm talking to you at a urinal, but
I agree with you completely on guns.
What a loser.
That conversation did not happen at a urinal, whether or not you could have it at that urinal or not.
You have Republicans publicly saying they support this. You don't have to pretend this happened at a urinal. What a joke.
Right.
What a joke. And then at a gun show. At a gun show where you're looking at these guns and going, man, I can't wait to buy these and freaking have the government take them from me for way less than I paid for it and destroy them. Like, Chris Reynolds said, how does take your guns as such a loser political strategy? How does he not know that? He just got too much money early, and so he can't drop out even though he has no chance. Exactly.
Yes.
That is exactly what it is. He's totally destroying. Chris Coons, Mayor Pete, and someone else that I'm forgetting right now have come flat out and said this is going to haunt us for many election cycles. This is the new "you didn't build that" or the new I was for it before I was against it from John Kerry. Like, this is the new, or read my lips, no new taxes from George Bush. This is the new thing that's going to like screw us up for at least a couple of election cycles, including this upcoming one, where people are going to be like, oh, I thought you weren't coming to take our guns. Oh, you are. Because
now you're saying you are.
Now you're saying you are. Now. Like, there's more support for things like background, another terrible idea, but there's more support for that. There is next to no support outside of Democrat primary voters to have the government make everyone sell their guns back to them. There's no support for that, especially not in the very states that they need. Like literally all of the battleground states are going to be places full of people going, no, the hell you aren't. You're not taking my gun.
Right.
So he succeeded.
Literally
Go ahead.
What Beto is doing, he's saying that, yes, we're going to be taking your guns. We are taking your AR-15s. We are taking your AK-47s. He is sending people into war.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He is sending the police to commit an act of violence against people, and the only way for them to protect themselves is with the thing that they are trying to take from them.
Right.
Like, he is literally, if he were elected, which he won't be, but if he were elected, he would be starting a war on gun owners, and the gun owners would fight back.
Yeah, any major act of gun control is going to cause more violence directly from, fights between police and between the state and between the police and between gun owners than they're saying that they want to stop. We haven't had, the last time we had a major, what I would consider a major firearms act, was the National Firearms Act. And it resulted in a lot of gangland violence that we don't know what murder rates are like compared to what was going on back then. We have no concept of the kind of constant wholesale murders across the country that were happening because the police were in these rolling automatic weapon fights with gangs who had become rich on the ban on alcohol, interestingly enough. So, I mean, it's obviously a terrible idea. Speaking of, and I'm going to let you talk about this one because I have no idea what this is. Speaking of basic white guys with teeth issues, tell us about Joe Biden and what happened there.
Well, long after his teeth fell out of his head during the debate. Which you just got to feel bad for the guy.
I feel terrible.
Like, he's sitting there in the climate change panel that they had. His eye explodes, and he's got like the big red blotch all over the side of his eye. Yeah. And of course, that becomes a meme. And then he has that video of corn pop shootout go viral, and then during the debate, his teeth just kind of come unhinged and just kind of float in his mouth for a minute. And luckily he got them back in by the end of the sentence, but that was an awkward sentence to watch being said. But in his debate performance, at one point he was talking about ways that people could be more environmentally friendly and energy efficient, and he said, don't keep your record players on all night. Now
that's like a Saturday Night Live clip of Joe Biden of like making fun of what Joe Biden would say.
Right. Like it's you when he said that, I thought to myself, well, Joe, I own a record player. Obviously, like I have typewriters. I've got an old school.
Yeah, I was going to say you
rotary
definitely
phone.
have it.
Like, of course, I have a record player. They go off automatically, man. Like once it stops playing the record, it's just going to stop, and the record's done.
That is hilarious.
Poor Joe. Like you're so out of touch.
Oh, Joe.
You are so out of touch, Joe, and you're somehow still the front runner because you just keep invoking the name of the holiest of the holy.
That's literally it. The only reason is because he has the most name recognition, which is because he was the vice president for 8 years under a president that was incredibly popular with Democrats and fairly popular with the general public compared to most other presidents. And that's it. That's all he has, which is why he keeps invoking it, which is smart. But
it is.
He's also like, he's touching 80. He's looking every bit of it. His body's falling apart.
Literally in front of us.
In front of us. I will say I feel bad for the guy, except he could choose to get out of the election at any time. But he, goodness, keep your records. Don't let your record players.
Don't keep your record players on all night.
I want to take back what I said about Saturday Night Live. If I heard that as a skit on Saturday Night Live, I'd go, oh, because it's so like out there. Like, of course, he wouldn't go that far to say it, and yet he said it.
And yet he said it. Yeah, like Joe, I feel really bad for Joe, and he's going to stick it out. For Joe. He's going to stick it out because his son's dying wish was for him to run for president or something.
Or something. He's already run for president. This will be his third or fourth time. He ran in 08. He ran in 08 and dropped out after saying that he was finally Obama. There was finally a clean black guy running for president who was well spoken. And then because of course he would. And then he also ran in either 96 or no, he ran in like 88. He ran like a long time ago. And this plagiarism thing came out that like all of his main speeches that he had. I have to look this up.
Oh, that's right.
You say some stuff.
Okay. So one of the big things that Joe Biden's having problems with is he keeps invoking the name of Barack Hussein Obama. And he keeps, I was Obama's vice president. I was Obama's vice president. Corn Pop, Obama's vice president. And
oh, corn flakes.
Old Corn Pop. He keeps saying that, but then whenever they bring up Obama's record on immigration, he goes, I was just the vice president.
Yep.
I couldn't do anything. But then he'll say, I backed Obama in the good, in the mediocre, and the bad. And up until immigration, he's like, I was just Chris Reynolds is really on the Kamala Harris VP train. I was just a vice president. I couldn't do anything. There's nothing I could do. I was vice president. And it's like, Joe, like you got to pick a lane, buddy. Oh, Julian Castro ripped him though for his age during the debate. If anybody caught this.
Yeah.
Because he said something, and I probably should put this in the notes, but he said something. And then when Julio Castro quoted him, he goes, I didn't say that. He goes, did you forget already, Joe? Did you forget already? You just said it 2 minutes ago. Did you already forget what you said 2 minutes ago?
Which is a valid response, but ouch.
Right. It put Julio on the map for a lot of people.
And Sarah said Joe can't recite his website, so no one can fact check him later. go to 303 330 03 30.
Yeah, Joe's debate performance was not great, and he had people going after him. Kamala Harris, the only reason I don't think Kamala Harris will be the VP nom is because she is getting thrashed in the media.
Yeah.
Because of her record on criminal justice reform. And I don't think it helps. I don't think it helps with the black vote on whether
which she needs.
Which she needs.
So like in general, the Democratic primary voters are something like, I want to say like 30 or 40% black. And in the South, they're like 50 or 60% black. So you really need black support, which is why it was expected that Cory Booker, bitch made Cory, and cop thought, oh, I'm sorry, gosh darn jerk Cory, sorry Sarah, and cop thought Harris, thought police, Harris, thought police, we're gonna do well because they're black, and Kamala Harris is a black woman, so she can do the whole black girl magic thing and all that stuff. But the problem is they both suck on the issues that black Democratic primary voters care the most about, namely criminal justice reform and police brutality and the war on drugs. And they both have terrible records with that, especially Kamala. And so she's not doing well. And so it's basically becoming the battle of the really, really old white people. And including Joe Biden. It is like Trump's going to, like, unless the economy goes bad and Trump doesn't go to war, Trump's going to win. We keep saying that. But like he can get as little as 46% of the vote and still win. Do you see anyone in this field getting 54+% of the vote?
No.
I don't see him getting 52 or 51.
No, I didn't bring my notes from the debate in, but so with the 8, like, you still have multiple candidates running that weren't on the debate stage. Multiple. I think everybody still is pretty much from the first 2 debates. I think 3 people have dropped out total.
Something like that, yeah.
Like Tulsi Gabbard's still running. Marianne Williamson, did she drop or is she still running?
She's still in it, and she actually had a hot mic moment where she said basically, why is it that I'm one of the most left-wing candidates running, and she said I'm a super lefty, and the Fox News is being nicer to me than the lefties are. She's feeling the long knives.
She said, I thought the right was supposed to be the evil ones, but they're nicer to me than the people on the left.
Yeah, the right and libertarians and are being nicer to her than people on the left. They just want her out because she's not, Liz Warren or Joe Biden or whatever, and because she wants to heal the world. That's the real reason why, is that she actually wants to save us from the dark psychic force of collectivized hatred.
That's right.
But no, she hasn't dropped.
With a little cocaine and happiness, we can heal the world.
Heal the world with some essential oils and patchouli and some hashish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean Whitehead says Mayor Petey has been steady in his responses and not running from the issues. That's actually true.
Yeah.
Like, Petey's been doing pretty well for a young guy. Running for the biggest office in the land, and he's not backing away from anything. He's kind of answering the questions more so than others.
Yeah, he's actually been the least objectionable, or one of the least objectionable, and he's gay.
Right. And he's gay.
He's gay.
Yeah, he's a solid VP pick.
He really is. Like, especially if it isn't Biden, and you have a black or native candidate who gets it, you could, keep the whites happy, keep the white people happy by putting in a young, nice, white, gay guy who doesn't come off as, obviously there are all sorts of gay people. They're everywhere, okay? There's everyone is gay.
I'm going to sit back and watch this one.
Thank you, because I'm just digging the hole. There's obviously not a way that all gay people act. But there are many... Why am I saying this? There are many... I don't know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, I'm letting you dig.
I don't know what I'm not even sure what I was trying to say. I don't even remember what I was going to say now. He's gay.
He's gay.
And that's okay. It's okay that Mayor Pete's gay.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Anyway.
Man, God, that's like a 30-year-old reference at this point.
It's so... I hate how old that reference is. So also, speaking of Tulsi, Tulsi came out and she was being asked about taxation from one of her libertarian supporters, and she said taxation is theft, and then some other stuff.
Technically, okay, so what I'm going to say, a lot of people have been kind of hitting her for going on past taxation is theft. What she said isn't wrong. Taxation is theft when our taxes are being used towards the things that do not serve our interests.
If that were the end of the sentence, she would have said nothing wrong, because all taxes are being used towards things that do not serve our interests. But then she said some other stuff, and I didn't even bother adding it because...
I didn't even see the rest of what she said. I only saw that part.
She said some other stuff. She said, you know, right now our taxes are being used for endless wars and nuclear weapons and, bailouts for big companies and blah, 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 blah. She was right. But then she was like, so what they need to be used for is our schools and our healthcare and our blah, blah. And watch this video of me doing squats. Which I did.
Is there a video of her doing squats?
There is a video of her doing squats. So while Matt looks up the video of Tulsi Gabbard doing squats, so I just want to, so listen, she's maybe she's on her way. Does she become a libertarian in a few more years? Probably not.
No. Well,
Probably
they'll recruit her and she'll lose miserably.
I mean, she had that amazing orgasm-worthy quote of the when she left, when she was leaving a campaign, and someone said, "Do you think Walmart should stop selling guns and ammo?" And she said, "That's up to Walmart," which was like the best answer anyone could get for that.
Right.
It's up to them. She said it's up to them. They're a private company, and then she just like walked away, and I'm like, yes, girl, yes. So.
Chris Reynolds said, I completely missed that Tulsi quote. Is it because she is polling so low she's not getting coverage? Yeah, basically. That's essentially it.
Yes. Sarah Anderegg says taxation is always theft.
Right.
Heart react. There we go.
Same thing I said.
Yeah. No, exactly. Heart react to you too, Matt.
Thanks.
So that was fun. And now we have our new, well, it's not new, but this is new. We have our segment called the Personal Injury Attorney Chris Reynolds Attorney at Law Anchor Call-In Moment, which is, you guessed it, guys. I'm just going to leave this up. This is where we take questions by Personal Injury Attorney Chris Reynolds, Attorney at Law, that he has left on our Anchor FM channel, which is anchor.fm/muddied waters. And guys, if you sponsor the Muddied Waters of Freedom and Muddied Waters Media, you too can have your questions answered as well. But for now, this is Chris Reynolds time right now. I'm going to take that.
That's right.
I'm going to probably put that on later. I'm going to show that while we're listening to his question. So this is the first one from Personal Injury Attorney Chris Reynolds, Attorney at Law.
Personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds here with your Biden break. So we've got a couple of newer polls, and things seem to be kind of shaping up a little bit more concretely on the Democratic nomination. And the interesting one that I really found recently was the CBS polls that recently came out about, the first, 4 or 5, what they call battleground states, whatever that means. And, essentially the first few states that are going to kind of shape, the first wave of delegates. And really, it's come down to Biden, Sanders, and Warren. They've got like 70 to 75% of the vote. Does anyone else have a chance other than those three? Like even Kamala seems to be waning pretty signisignificantly. So I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts. Thanks.
I think everyone else is running for VP at this point.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one. It's going to be one of those three. I
I was actually having this conversation the other day with somebody. Sanders he's slipping.
Yeah.
He's slipping. He's slipping in the polls. And it's like we've been saying for months now. In 2016, Sanders was the only person saying this. Now he's one of everybody saying it. Amy Klobuchar tried to discern herself from the rest of the pack by not saying the same things and going after Sanders.
Right.
Joe Biden told him he was a terrible socialist. thought that was funny.
That is funny.
But all in all, it's going to be one of those three, probably either Biden or Warren. I don't see Booker, no shot. Beto, no shot. Buttigieg, dark horse, doubt it. Highly, highly doubt it. VP, maybe. Harris, she's fallen. She's been getting hit so hard by everybody because of her criminal justice.
Right.
That she's just falling. She's nowhere near the lead anymore.
No.
Julian Castro, he tried to make a name for himself in this last debate, and it helped him out, but he's going to get like a debate bump, but he's just going to go back down because he really doesn't have anything to say unless he's saying it in Spanish.
Which was going to be, I mean, that was his whole shtick. I'm going to let everyone else fight for everything else, and I'm going to get that pined after Latino vote. Well, it turns out that's not as big as they thought it was.
Right. Andrew Yang, he's getting the Trump vote from 2016 from the internet.
Yeah.
He's getting the 4chan and the Reddit vote.
Yeah.
And Yang Gang, hashtag Yang Gang.
Yeah, Yang Gang
said it earlier.
So there are a lot of things there. First of all, Yang is not appealing to Democrat voters. He's appealing to like the people who are probably going to end up voting for Vermin Supreme. And he's also I thought his delivery was good. In the debates, it has sucked. His delivery's not good for 1 minute sound bites. His delivery is good for like interview questions and like talking stuff out longer form. If you give him 30 seconds, he's like, I'm going to give you $1,000 a month. He doesn't really have much time to break down what his whole deal is and why he thinks this fourth industrial revolution with automation is going to lead to mass unemployment, which has not happened yet, but could, he's claiming it will. And there's a whole group of people, including libertarians, who think think that that's going to happen. It's hard to do that in a 1 minute thing. And so he's saying stuff like, I don't look at me, I'm Asian, I don't have a tie. And it's like, that's not.
I will say that at the beginning of this debate, he was talking a little bit on immigration, and he said, my father slept on the bare floor of a peanut factory in China, and now his son is running for president of the United States. I am the American dream.
Right.
And I was like, I'll give that to you.
That's a compelling story. Yeah.
That is a compelling story. And that might boost him into the next debate.
I hope so. I like Andrew. I mean, I think he scares me because he has really good intentions. And historically, it's been the people with the best of intentions who have done the absolute worst because they really believe in what they're doing. And often it's the more cynical leaders who are like, yeah, I don't believe any of this. I go with wherever the winds shift, that are less likely to cause like a genocide because they're more wishy-washy. They're not going to kill a bunch of people because their idea is unpopular, so they need to thin the numbers of the people who don't like their ideas. I'm not saying he would do that, but just the ones who are like the most like, I really believe I can change everything with government, those are the ones that scare me the most. But he seems like a really likable dude, and I wish they wouldn't like did they shut off his mic or do any of the other dirty crap they've done in the past?
Not that I really noticed.
Okay.
I also didn't make it all the way. I tried.
Yeah, no, so
really, I have found watching the debate live streaming on the internet is much cooler
than just taking it.
Right. Oh, we totally could have done it on Float.
Oh, crap.
We totally could do it on Float.
Okay, guys, so from now on, we're going to be doing Demageddons, but it'll just be on Float, and we'll share it on our other platforms, but it'll only be on Float, because Float doesn't give a crap.
Yeah, Float's not getting rid of us.
We can play copyrighted content while, like, doing drugs with hookers on Float. That's actually, like, their preferred video format.
It really is. And so tune in for the next Demageddon.
The Demageddon 4.
On float.app.
On float.app.
And their video quality is amazing.
It's the best out of all of them.
It's
like, guys,
unbelievable.
if you guys go to float.app/Muddy Waters Media/live, float.app/Muddy Waters Media, and then you can see our live. It's the best quality out of all of these. It looks
really
insanely good because it's just a straight RTMP server. So anyway, here's our next question from Chris.
Personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds here with Trump Time. Recently, Donald Trump tried to have this secret summit with the Taliban, I believe. And really, I just kind of want your guys' thoughts on this story, and maybe you could kind of help explain some of it to me, because I honestly don't understand a lot of that situation over there. But, you know, from what I understand, he wanted people to come to Camp David, which really pissed people off. The Taliban is not recognized, and a lot of people are saying that this was just him trying to get something done before the election to boost his ratings, essentially. And when he realized that it was either going to take too long or not happen at all, that he bailed pretty quickly or maybe prematurely. So I love your guys' thoughts. Thanks.
We love your thoughts too.
I just love Chris Reynolds.
I love
personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, is he's just a stand-up guy.
You know, people in Atlanta trying to figure out why I have some guy's cutout on my shirt, like, you know, walking through the street, which, you know, a very gay city, Atlanta, so I don't know what they were worried about, but I just love him. I love him. So, and also I love that he is filling in all the gaps in our notes. I love it. So basically Trump tweeted that there was supposed to be a clandestine meeting, a secret meeting between the Taliban and the...
You really tweet out the clandestine and secret meetings.
What's that?
Do you really put out a tweet for a secret meeting?
Well, he's talking about how it was supposed to happen. There was supposed to be a secret meeting, which he would have definitely live tweeted. Like, I mean, let's be clear here. This is the guy who, like, took a picture from the Situation Room of a top secret thing, and then, man, I can't wait to show this on Twitter, because the president can ad hoc declare things declassified by virtue of just posting them publicly, and that's perfectly legal.
Yep.
He's the commander-in-chief. He can do whatever he wants. So he tweets that, you know, there was going to be this summit between the Taliban and the administration, Trump administration, at Camp David, but that it fell through because at the last minute the Taliban put down additional preconditions or something like that, and those were unacceptable to Trump. Something like that.
The Taliban took. They claim they took credit for an attack that happened where multiple people ended up being killed in the Middle East, and he said that he wasn't going to have them come anymore since they did that.
Right. So, and like Justin Amash said a couple days ago, there's never going to be perfect conditions for leaving this stupid feudal war. Like, just leave.
Right.
It's not so okay. You're going to come to some peace terms with the Taliban that they're not going to keep. Why? Just leave. Tell them, give us, we're leaving, give us 30 days to leave, and then start leaving. Just leave. And of course, the neocons are outraged, we're betraying Israel, or whatever the hell they have to say about it. We have to stay in Afghanistan to fight for democracy. Someone was saying, all the gains that we've made there, and it's like tens of thousands of innocent civilians have been killed, most of whom ultimately they've all been killed because of U.S. military involvement there. And most of them have actually been directly killed by U.S. military rockets and bombs and bullets and so forth. So, I mean, it's like, just leave. Just leave. The progress will get better. Look at Vietnam now, okay? Vietnam, the U.S. is one of Vietnam's largest trading partners. You probably own a piece of clothing that was made in Vietnam. They're not a danger to us. The whole, they're going to come over here and fight us here if we don't fight them. None of them. The ones that came here came to do nails, thanks to Brigitte Bardot, I think. What? There was an actress.
It is. It's Tippi Hedren.
Was that Marianne from Gilligan's Island?
No, it's the lady from The Birds.
Okay, Tippi Hedren.
Yeah.
She got all the Vietnamese women doing nails. So that's literally the only Vietnamese that have come here have come to like work or start a business.
Right.
So that was all garbage.
They all came over here, and then she went to visit them at one of the refugee camps, and she was talking with them, and she said they didn't know what they were going to do. I think that's how the story goes. They didn't know what they were going to do, so she called in the guy that did her nails, and he trained them how to do it.
Right. And so now it's a big thing for them.
Yeah, now it's what they do.
It's like what they do. And so I'm sure Tori Spelling can figure out something for the Taliban when they come here.
Tori Spelling.
Someone.
Tori Spelling.
Okay, fine. Angelina Jolie.
I mean, you pulled way back in your 90s references for that one.
Someone else some Hollywood someone. They're not coming here anyway. The Taliban's not coming here to fight us.
Right.
They had no interest in fighting us then. I remember the run-up to the war in Afghanistan. They were just like, we don't know we can't just get bin Laden. They didn't want to fight with us. And like, I mean, it's just so stupid. Just leave. Those are my thoughts, Chris. Those are also Matt's thoughts. We should just leave. We should just leave. Okay. Here's the next one from Chris. It's not playing. Hold on. There we go.
Personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds here with your AOC Millennial Minute. This week we had the either firing or resignation, depending upon who you ask, of everyone's favorite national security advisor, John Bolton. But if you ask Donald Trump, he was fired by tweet, which seems kind of odd that you would fire someone with such a huge responsibility with a tweet, but whatever. If you ask John Bolton, I think he would say that he resigned. Regardless, Bolton seems to be like one of those big right-wing hawks that Republicans would like. I thought that was Trump's homie. And then all of a sudden we had this kind of bad breakup, which we've seen over and over and over and over again with Donald Trump. And a lot of people are saying that Trump just doesn't even really want a national security advisor. He wants to do it all himself, which seems like more of a dictatorial type of move. But I'd love your guys' thoughts.
So Trump has, Chris, like you said, Trump has a long history of bringing in people saying they're the best. They're going to do such a great job. They're so good to him. And then like very soon after, gutting them and getting rid of them and saying, oh, they're terrible. They were ruining everything. Sort of like some of you ladies do. Huh? 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 You know.
Oh, very well. Yeah.
So, Matt, what are your thoughts on this?
When he hired John Bolton, I was actually kind of surprised because like we said earlier, Trump hasn't started any new wars. He's actually been parsing down on the wars.
Yeah.
And we didn't go to war with North Korea. We have not yet gone to war in Iran. Venezuela, we didn't use any military. And it's kind of surprising. Like, I was shocked when he brought on John Bolton, and then all of a sudden, all of this talk about, okay, we're going to use military action in Venezuela. Okay, no, we're going to start a war in Iran. I figured because Bolton was on board, that was going to happen. But the fact that Trump's been like, no, get out, or famously, you're fired.
You're fired.
You're fired.
Or my Trump for you're fired. That's my Trump.
It's the greatest Trump ever.
Thank you.
So when he got brought on, I was really surprised. And him leaving, I wasn't. I did not think that was a good fit from the beginning. And I am Chris Reynolds. I'm pretty sure Bolton wanted to go to war with everyone. I agree.
Yeah.
The only people that Bolton doesn't want to go to war with are the walruses
and Israel,
and the guy who says diabetes,
because they're his mother and father,
right?
And Israel,
the
walruses, Wilford Brimley.
Thank you.
And Yosemite Sam. Those are the four parties,
right,
that are safe.
To me, he looks like an old oil prospector or gold prospector.
He looks like an 18th century, or he looks like a mid to late 19th century anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Accurate.
Pretty much.
I could see him with a 6-shooter. Oh God, Sam Elliott.
Yeah.
He looks like Sam Elliott's dumber brother.
Who's also dumber, challenged brother.
Right.
I could picture John Bolton selling actual snake oil at a fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that question. Then we have one more, right? Yeah, one more from personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, attorney at law.
Personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds here with your weather service segment. Over the last couple of weeks, we've had Donald Trump fighting with the weather service, NOAA, about whether or not Hurricane Dorian, not the portrait of, but Hurricane Dorian, is going to impact or was going to impact Alabama. It seems like a really weird argument to be having, the president fighting with the National Weather Service and NOAA. And usually when something like this does happen, I start to wonder, is this fight real, or is it something that Donald Trump is trying to distract us from something else he doesn't want us to be talking about or thinking about, which could be any number of things, whether it's the Afghanistan stuff or something else. But I'd love to hear your guys' thought on that situation and any thoughts just in general you have. Thanks.
So, what a stupid fight. So this all started because Trump tweeted. He tweeted something about there's a hurricane coming, Dorian, that's threatening many states, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, North Carolina, what order he put it in, and said, this could be really bad, our thoughts and prayers, or whatever he said. He put in Alabama. He claims that it was during, and I think at one point a national security advisor, or a Homeland Security advisor, said that they had mentioned to him that Alabama could be affected by some of the winds or something like that. Whatever. He had just heard a thing. He tweeted out, kind of unceremoniously, without really putting a lot of thought in it, mentioned Alabama. And some people were like, oh, Trump said Alabama. And it was a real petty thing for them to do, to bring up that he said that. But then he
You know that we were some of those people, right?
What, on the Alabama thing?
Yeah.
Oh, well, What, with the memes?
Well, no, on our show, we made fun of him and told all the people in Alabama to be safe.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's still funny, but he made it into this thing, and he kept fighting with everyone about it. And it came to a head. I'm pulling this up right now. It came to a head, guys, when he was doing a press briefing and and I'm very familiar with this format because I followed the National Hurricane Service website pretty religiously during a storm so I can follow the track. And he added, if you can see there in the top left corner of that track, what appears to be in Sharpie, he added Alabama there. And for anyone who follows how these tracks work, there would never be a shape like that at the end. It goes to 5 days out, and then that cone gets bigger and bigger because the area of uncertainty gets bigger and bigger. There would never be just something jutting in black Sharpie on the side.
Right.
So he literally Sharpied. Like, it's just it's just the dumbest. This is someone with an incredibly fragile ego and thin skin. Like, this is, I'm glad he has a predisposition not to go to war, because this is someone who would nuke someone over something stupid, because he's just because they embarrassed him. So if you're a foreign head of state, please don't try to embarrass Donald Trump, because he might kill all of us. Just please don't.
Chris Reynolds says, I love the one with the umbrella.
Oh, where he was walking, and because there were all these different memes of Trump with something Sharpied in. And
Gotcha. Okay.
And one was with him, I think him holding the umbrella or someone holding, but one was with him and Melania, but they weren't holding hands, and it was Sharpied them holding hands. And there were a bunch of them like that, and it was as dumb as the jokes were, he created it. Who the hell does this?
And Chris has a point. Maybe he's trying to point you away from something different, because that's what Trump does.
Yeah, maybe. But then nothing. What happened that he was trying to point us away from?
So maybe he knew that the Democratic debate was going to take up this week.
Right.
Maybe he knew that he was getting rid of Bolton, and he wanted something to take the heat off of Bolton before he did Bolton.
Sure.
But
yeah.
But I can't see that being anything less than everybody on the left is going to like the fact that Bolton's gone.
Right.
Anybody that's libertarian over is going to be glad that Bolton's gone. You're only worried about the really hardcore authoritarian Republicans who want Bolton in.
And they're still going to vote for Trump anyway.
Right. They're going to vote for Trump anyway. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So I can't think of anything that's come out unless he knew that the Democratic debates were going to suck the air out this week. Joe Biden falling apart in front of the nation's eyes just happened to coincide with it. So maybe something's going on that isn't being covered. Maybe it's Brett Kavanaugh having, countless rape accusations that we aren't hearing about because of Sharpies and.
I don't know. It could be a 4D chess situation where he's distracting from something else. It could just be what a weird flex.
Right.
It's just a what?
I was agreeing with you.
Oh, it was very, very weird. I don't really have any other answer to that, but what a weird thing over something so stupid. You could have just said, he could have just left it at, they had mentioned Alabama, but this is the official track. He's got someone said, Donald Trump's scaring the residents of Alabama by making them think that no one thought that Alabama was in the way. It was just a stupid thing. So anyway, Chris, thank you again for those questions. And guys, be sure to tune in next week for our Chris Reynolds, personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, anchor call-in moment with this graphic that Chris freaking loves a lot.
Yeah, big fan of that one.
Yeah. So I'm going to let you kind of lead on this story because I know very little about it. But speaking of, we had mentioned Asians earlier with the Vietnamese. Speaking of Asians.
I thought you were going to say Andrew Yang, and I'm glad you didn't go that route.
Oh, wow, that would have been even better. Anyway, go ahead. Tell us about this because I know almost nothing.
So as we've covered in the past about Hong Kong and the protests that have been happening, and the catalyst for all of it is because of an extradition bill that was set, that was up for a vote, and the people were like, no, just no.
No,
no, you're not you're not going to do that.
Yeah, no thanks.
Well, one of the demands of the protesters was that bill is killed. And Carrie Lam, who is the executive director of Hong Kong, she said that she had tabled it, and we're not gonna work on this bill right now. Well, last week they killed it. They killed the bill because they just wanted peace in Hong Kong. Unfortunately,
yeah,
they waited a little too long for that.
Yeah, it's been
because the people in Hong Kong continue to protest with chants of Fan Sang Zhong. Fan Sang Zhong. Fan Sang Zhong. Which directly means oppose sending to China, or more accurately, oppose sending us to our deaths.
Right, because that was the main thing about this extradition bill, is that it would allow China to basically trump up charges against people they don't like, especially democracy, advocates and anti-Beijing and anti-communist people in Hong Kong, and bring them over to China where they'd probably never even face trial, and just kind of disappear, and so they were just dead set against this. And rather than just quietly scuttle it and get rid of it months ago, when did this start? Like May? July,
I think that
June?
the bill was initially, it's been a while since, obviously I don't have those notes anymore. But I think initially the bill was introduced in February. That's when the initial protests started happening, but they didn't start gaining steam until April or May.
Yeah. So several months now. It should have, before the summer, they should have just tabled this and all of this would have gone away. Now you've got what's looking more and more like a revolution.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy.
It has gotten so far, like demonstrators are still fighting. They're still fighting. The bill has now been dead for, I think, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have a show last week.
Right. We didn't do a show last week. Right.
The bill is still, or the people are still fighting. Their city is sliding into, and this is a quote from wherever I stole it from, into a nightmare of police brutality, arbitrary detention, and extrajudicial punishment. And as I was reading just moments ago, from some ABC News, Congress is weighing legislation to support Hong Kong protests with local activists urging action. So Congress is talking about possibly sending support of some kind, which is terrifying because that leads to one and only thing.
Yeah, that is really terrifying. It's one thing to like pass a resolution saying we stand with you or whatever. It's another thing to like actually support them.
Right.
Because that's put in perspective, if during the Black Lives Matter protests, which is not a perfect parallel, but sure. If during the height of the Black Lives Matter protests, some of which escalated into riots, nothing like what you're seeing in China, in Hong Kong. It's not even comparable. But let's say during the height of those, the Chinese government sent stuff to them, like weapons or whatever. Like sent logistical, really anything of any, material support to them. Imagine how that would have been perceived by U.S. government and media. Now, picture how much worse these protests are going and getting involved in that. Because what are you going to give them? They already have great technology, clearly. You're giving them guns. Or you're giving them shipments of aid that the CIA puts guns in.
Right.
They're getting guns. They're probably already getting guns.
Right. And, we've talked about the ingenuity of the Hong Kong people. They've been using the umbrellas to protect themselves from facial recognition, from tear gas, from the rainy season that they had to go through while they were doing this. They've been dropping the tear gas bombs into liquid nitrogen, which is just brilliant.
It's a bunch of geniuses rioting. It's a riot of geniuses. It's like, I don't know how else to describe it. It's a bunch of geniuses rioting, and they're throwing stuff at them, and they're like, it's like a bunch of MacGyvers that are rioting, and we put it in this thing, and and before that they were covering them with cones, and I was like, it's crazy. And what happened?
Sarah Branion, in response to the CIA thing, sending them guns, says, "Are they making sure they aren't felons, or only Americans get that treatment?"
Right, exactly. Yeah, are they giving background checks to the Hong Kong people? Right. That's a good point, Sarah. That's why they need our guns. Beto's going to take our guns and then give them to the Hong Kong.
Give them to the
Hong Kong people.
To the Hong Kong.
The Hong Kong Gleans.
Kongians.
Hong Kongolese.
Hong
Kong people.
Yeah. So the protests are still going on. They waited too long to kill this bill.
Yeah.
They should have killed it a long time ago. Chris Reynolds asks if this is all the fault of the British or China. I would say this is the fault of of Hong Kong's government.
Yeah. The Chinese government was pushing this extradition bill, but Carrie Lam screwed this up bad.
Yeah, she screwed it up so bad.
Like, she effed up hard. She is the cop thought of Hong Kong, if you will.
The thought police.
Thought police of Hong Kong.
I can't even go to get my hair done without being attacked by protesters. Well, you probably should have thought about that before potentially sending people to their deaths.
Yeah, with no trial. It's just absolutely, because this was so we called, because they were talking about how it was tabled 2 weeks ago when we were doing our show. We called for her to actually kill the bill, take it off the table, and within 6 to 12 hours she did that, having heard our powerful voice tell her to,
right.
Which we thankfully now, frankly, we should have done it sooner.
Yeah, but it gave us such good content for.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, because this is like totally. Yeah, we nailed that.
We did.
We nailed that for the content.
We have definitely crushed the Hong Kong coverage.
So,
much like our police forces are doing to them.
Oh gosh, yeah. This is Carrie Lam. The British. Other than it's the fault of the British for creating a bastion of largely free market capitalism and democracy in the middle of a communist dictatorship, I guess that part's their fault. And invading the world.
Well, yeah, but
that part's their fault too. Also their fault. So speaking of potential riots from angry young persons, there are a lot of vape bans happening now, which could potentially lead to Matt and his young friends taking over the streets by force.
Yeah, if you want to see a very angry episode of this show, wait till the first day that I am not allowed to vape flavored e-juice anymore.
So do you do the flavored ones?
Yeah. Okay, so one, this is really stupid. Okay, let's do the entire backstory before I go into my rant on this.
Let's please.
So this all started with Governor Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan.
Michigan,
from the Mitten. She used her executive power to ban flavored vaping products for 6 months. She's hoping that the ban becomes permanent. She is rooting for her, I think it's legislature. I'm not sure what Michigan has. Rooting for them to pass a bill that bans all flavored vaping products from Michigan. Following on those heels very quickly, the commander-in-chief, the orange one, he came fighting back. Well, not fighting back. He came to her defense.
Yeah, fighting with her,
and he is readying a federal ban on flavored vaping products, not including
tobacco flavored.
Because yum yum tobacco flavor.
But I still want to say that again. Flavored vaping products, not including tobacco flavored. Now, there are 4 ingredients in vape juice. I know them all by heart. Propylene glycol, vegetable glycerin, nicotine, flavor. All of them approved by the FDA individually.
Right.
It's when you mix them together that suddenly the FDA now has an issue with it. Now, the amount of chemicals in a cigarette, I believe, is 237. I can't name all of them. I can name nicotine. All the others I can't.
Right.
Now, they're saying that vaping has become a huge thing for kids, and it's leading more and more kids to start vaping because cool flavors like Fruit Loops and custards.
Because that's what makes kids do stuff, is Fruit Loop flavoring. I know when I was a kid and I was doing drugs, which I wasn't because South Carolina has no statute of limitations. But if I had been a kid doing drugs, at no point would the thought of what the flavor was have come into my head at all.
No, would not have done it.
Would not.
Yeah, drugs are bad because they have pictures of cartoon characters on them.
It's just like
it's so stupid. And people are saying, well, we need to ban it for the kids. The kids are doing it. The kids are going to do it anyway. Before I was 18, I was smoking cigarettes. Even though all drugs, well, not all drugs, but most drugs are banned, right. I still found a way to do it. Yeah. I still found ways to do them. I found ways to buy them. I found ways to do them. And some of those ways were really, really, I thought that they were well thought out, but they weren't. You're going to try to take away vaping, which so many people, and I know this is anecdotal and it's only my friends that I've talked to about this. I haven't taken a poll.
Right.
But a lot of my friends are worried that they will have to go back to smoking cigarettes if they can't get their preferred juices that we vape.
So let's go back to Michigan for a minute.
Okay.
They just made marijuana legal.
Yes.
So you're going to have scenarios in which the police are going to be confiscating people's vape pens and saying there better damn well be marijuana in this vape pen and not Fruit Loop flavor.
What if
I don't know.
Fruit Loop flavored marijuana?
Well, then I guess you'll get in trouble for the flavor, not the weed. I mean, that's how absurd all of this nonsense is. So let's also talk about the fact that cigarettes kill, 500,000 people in the U.S. a year?
Something like that.
So, something like hundreds of thousands of people die from smoking-related illness, emphysema, lung cancer, and so forth. 6 people? Or 5 people?
6.
6 people have died vaping. All of them from illegal black market vape cartridges that had concentrations that were too high, and so they ended up with some kind of breathing.
High levels of vitamin E, which apparently you're not supposed to inhale.
Oh, okay. And so it was causing breathing problems, and it's terrible. Like, it's terrible that those kids or people, I don't know how old they were, that those people died. Making everyone use illegal products is sort of the opposite of where you would want to go with this. I mean, you have Bloomberg former mayor Michael Bloomberg is spending $160 million to lobby for the ban of flavored e-cigarettes and vaping materials.
Which he successfully has done, because now Governor Andrew Cuomo has announced an emergency executive order on Sunday that would ban popular flavors like mango and cotton candy from being sold in local retailers. I'm assuming that just means all flavors that aren't tobacco. And
right.
I will say that the mango flavored vape is delicious. I have one in my bag right now. It is so good.
And Governor Newsom of California has issued an executive order to find ways to end the sales of vape liquids, vape flavors in California. Now, remember New York. You remember the Eric Garner incident where the police killed Eric Garner for selling loose cigarettes because there was a new rule which was being heavily enforced against selling loose cigarettes. And so the loose cigarette task force literally jumped on Eric Garner and suffocated him to death. And I know all the people, well, you know, it happened because he was fat. He wouldn't actually literally choke. They just put him in a really bad headlock and stepped on him until he was dead. Okay, great. They shouldn't have even been bothering him. They were bothering him because they had this shiny new law that they had to make an example out of people of. And he said, no, leave me alone. So they killed him.
Right.
What do you think is going to happen with vape juice?
Same thing.
Same exact thing. So it's absurd. And so 6 people died. So you're going to now take the hundreds of thousands, millions, I don't know, people that are vaping. A lot of them are going to go to cigarettes where they can join the 500,000 people that are dying every year of smoking cigarettes.
Right. And Dave Hunter, super fan Dave Hunter on YouTube says this will push more people back to cigarettes, which is actually 100% accurate.
Yep.
Which are heavily taxed. This is a cash win for the state.
Yeah.
Now, back in 2008, when vaping first started coming sort of into the fray of popular culture, people started seeing, oh, I can quit cigarettes by vaping. Might be a good step. They voted and they put the purview of all nicotine products under the FDA, except for cigarettes. Cigarettes and dip, chewing tobacco, whatever you call it.
Right.
Those not under the purview of the FDA. All new vaping products, all new nicotine products under the purview of the FDA. That means that the FDA can ban all new nicotine products, including vaping, obviously.
But not cigarettes.
But not cigarettes.
Right. Which are the ones that actually kill people.
Which is killing 500,000 people a year or whatever the stat is.
Yeah.
But vapes, THC vapes, not even nicotine vapes, THC vapes killed 6 people and they are calling it an epidemic. Now, I'm not by any means saying that we need to ban cigarettes.
No.
I'm not saying we need to ban anything. But I swear, you take the vapes away, you are going to have, hipsters are going to be so mad. Like, the anti-gun hipsters will suddenly be pro-gun hipsters.
Oh, because they'll need guns to defend their vapes.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, this is just stupid. So there are 3 main forces that drive bans like this. One are the actual engine that starts it are rent-seeking lobbyists who basically want to shut out competition. In this case, it would be the tobacco lobby who wants to, and the cigarette manufacturers who want to shut out vaping so that people keep smoking cigarettes and dying. The next group, the 2 groups who once the rent seekers push forward something, the ones who jump onto it, full throttle, are the white soccer moms, who are, scared of anything touching their precious Jackson and Claxton and Braxton and Kaisakston, and our old friends, the boomers, who are scared of anything that they hadn't heard of by the time they were like 30. Anything after they were 30 is bad and needs to be banned and stopped at all costs. And so when you see these, any posts online or social media or conversations with people about vaping, you're going to get 2 people who are telling you, that, this something needs to be done. Boomers who have no idea what vaping is. And Karen, who is going to oh my gosh, I can't even imagine if I Jackson was to start vaping and then he could die. There's an epidemic. This is very scary, and we have to do something about it. And her grandfather is behind her going, yep, back in my day, you just smoke a cigarette, be done with it. Now they're vaping and everyone's dying from it. And those two people are ruining everything.
Yep.
Not just this. Everything.
Everything.
They're ruining everything. They're the two people saying we need Medicare for all. Oh my God, I can't even imagine if Jackson wasn't able to get insurance and take care of his health care. And the guy behind the guy, I already got Medicare, let's just give it to everyone. Like these are the two groups of people. This is what I want to leave you with.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to disagree with you on the boomer saying I already got Medicare, let's just give it to everyone.
There's two groups of the boomers. One that says, I got Medicare, everyone else needs Medicare. And then the other group goes, I have Medicare, screw the rest of you. You can all die on the streets. There is no other option.
Yeah.
And then there's
Sean
Tom
Whitehead
Arnold.
asked what my favorite flavor is. That's a really tough question, actually.
Tobacco.
No, it's definitely not fucking that. That one's so gross. If I wanted that, I'd just smoke cigarettes.
That's what, tobacco flavored, yum.
Yeah. Like none of the flavors actually taste like the real flavor, so why would I want tobacco flavored anything?
It's like poop flavor, yeah.
God, so there's this company called Naked Juice who makes a lot of good flavors. They've got one called Lava Flow that's really good. Their mango is quite good. It almost tastes like a real mango. There's this company Pink Vape is the name of the company. They have a cookie dough that it is like, it doesn't really taste like cookie dough, but it kind of tastes like a big plate of pancakes with syrup on it, and it's just absolutely delicious. Yeah, that's a tough question. It really kind of depends, because you get this thing, it's called vape tongue, where all the flavors just kind of blend together after a while, so you have to switch it up constantly.
Because it's just artificial flavoring, right? Like,
right.
It's just, yeah. So that's going to start tasting like nothing after a while. One of our commenters, Bass, asked if there was a smegma flavor.
I'm certain there is. I've tasted some really disgusting ones. I don't know what smegma tastes like, but I'm assuming that I have vaped that flavor at some point.
Probably tobacco.
Right, yeah. He is
Probably
incorrect.
tobacco and
It's not
smegma.
my favorite flavor.
Yeah. So what I want to leave you with is that your mom, actually no, your sister who had like a bunch of kids, and your grandfather are ruining everything. So, Thanksgiving's coming up in a couple months. I really need y'all to just sit down with them and be like, listen, Deborah, enough. Your kids are going to be psychopaths anyway, because that runs in our family, and there's nothing you can do about it. And Grandpa, stop banning everything.
Yeah.
The non-whites are not coming to kill you. It's okay.
When we make the joke about ban all the things, it's a joke. We don't actually mean it. Don't.
Yeah,
ban
no,
anything.
we're being ironic when we say that.
Right.
But they're not.
They are not.
They are definitely not. So, guys, there's not going to be a My Fellow Americans next tomorrow, next day. Next tomorrow. There's not going to be an episode. I'm having to go out of town yet again, but I will be back next week. Don't know who my guest is yet. Actually, no, that's not true. My guest is going to be John Phillips, who is Kim Ruff's running mate for the Libertarian nomination for president and vice president. And are you doing a show? Are you doing?
I have to take a hiatus on the writer's block for a little while. So it's going to be a little while before I get that one back up and running.
Okay. And Friday, really Friday and Monday for the next few weeks, Jason will not be doing his show, as we had mentioned before. If you can keep him and his family and his thought in your thoughts and prayers, they're dealing with a lot of really difficult stuff. I know that they'll get through it, but in the meantime, right now, he's taking a hiatus because apparently his family matters more to him than his show, which, whatever. That's his priority. But be sure to tune in next week, next Tuesday, right here, for another Sweet Autumn Boy episode of Muddied. Huh?
Are we in autumn?
We are, right? Like summer ended, I think. I'm still going to the beach every day, but technically summer ended.
I'm in Florida, so it's tough.
That's the thing. Like it's always hot where we live. So
degrees.
Yeah, I don't know. When did fall?
September 23rd.
Oh, so it's like literally.
It's, I think by the time of our next show.
Oh, so yeah. So by the next show, no more sweet summer boys. Now we're putting on our little sweater vests, and we're doing. I'm gonna have to find a sweater vest now.
I was gonna say, man, we're gonna have to wear sweater vests next week.
And so be sure to tune in next week for the Muddy Waters of Freedom, where Matt and I parse through the week's news with just an amazing amount of flair.
Foppish aplomb.
Yes. Definitely a large amount of foppish aplomb. So, Matt, if someone were to look for us on the internet, is that even possible?
Amazingly, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. You can find us on all over the internet, really. You can find us all over the internet. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/muddiedwatersmedia. You can find us on Twitter at muddied_waters. You can find us on Instagram at muddiedwatersmedia. You can find us on Float at float.app/muddiedwatersmedia. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/muddiedwatersmedia. And you can find this and every other episode at muddiedwatersmedia.com. Why do I feel like I'm forgetting one?
For the same reason I feel like you're forgetting one, but I don't think you did.
Oh, Anchor. And you can listen to this. You can listen to this at anchor.fm/muddiedwaters.
Muddy Waters. No, just Muddy Waters. Did you mention you didn't mention Float?
Yeah.
Did you? Yes. You did mention Float.app. Just go on Muddy Waters Media. It's all there.
Right. Except for Float.
It will be by the time they're seeing this.
Right.
Or no, this is live. By the time they're hearing, by the time they're seeing this later tomorrow. So guys, thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you next week. And where we're going,
we don't need roads.
I gotta press the button.
Mic check, yo. We still here? Still going strong, yeah? Are you down with Zuby? Yeah. I will not go pop, I will not go soft. When I say no means no. This is true hip-hop, I do not flip-flop. When I say flow mean flow. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. I will not go pop, I will not go soft. When I say no means no. This is true hip-hop, I do not flip-flop. When I say flow mean flow. This is perseverance. 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 I've been on the rhyme since I made a first appearance. I've been on the grind, never waited for the clearance. Life is all the time, so I'm gonna live it fearless. Yeah, and people gonna hear this. Made a little name with a vision and coherence. Never been a lame, now I'm closer to a genius. Knowledge in my brain, chalk it up to the experience. Still I'm not rich, but at least I ain't broke. Never sell dreams, cause I'd rather sell hope. People so lost in the mirrors and the smoke, think I'd be a realer bloke if I said I sold dope. Nope. But my fans will tell you that I'm awesome. I started selling and they bought them. I told them get them and I got them. So if you want dope bars, that's not a problem. It's time to put the needles on the wax. Rock hard like I got the Beatles in the back. Go soft, make it easy living off the map. Or I can go hard like a freaking cheetah on the track. I'm grinding from a zero to a stack. And I'm talking about De Niro getting jacked. If Wakanda needs a new king, I'ma go hard to be the leader of the pack. A needle in a stack, and I'm feeling to attack. Not a baller, no T'Challa, but a hero and I'm black. I'm an eagle to a rat, rebel demon on a track. I'm a scholar and a brawler, you don't feel it if you're whack. You're always talking evil in your rap, and I'm trying to put my meanings on the map. I gave you 12 rules for life and kept my room clean. I'm the Jordan Peterson of rap. Yeah. I will not go pop, I will not go soft. When I say no means no. This is true hip hop, I do not flip flop. When I say flow mean flow. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. I will not go pop, I will not go soft. When I say no means no. This is true hip hop, I do not flip flop. When I say flow mean flow. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. And I believe what I prophesize, so I don't apologize. Unless I do wrong, I don't bow to the mob, I don't live to antagonize. But they say I'm too outspoken. They wonder if I'm joking. Look, a little bit is jest, but I say what I feel, man, I'm real and I'm open. Trust in God, but I live in the physical. Selfish thoughts, but I give in the lyrical. Thought cops hot, want my speech to be criminal. Lies get fought when I speak the political. I am not left wing, I am not right wing. I just know all these things I know. You cannot label me, you can't put shame on me. When I say go means go. Fresh, I step into the premises, kick dope rhymes and they love how I'm expressing it. Hop online and reply to all the messages. Gotta spend time, man, I'm grateful that you cherish it. Don't talk crap, no, I'd rather be irrelevant. Can't play dumb, people know that I'm intelligent. See me up late night, big beard, let 'em in. 12 years deep now, I'm flowing like a veteran. Dudes show love, now I'm moving up in eminence. Girls show love cause they're feeling all the pleasantness. Got huge dreams, I can never be a pessimist. Too much love, I can never be a feminist. Girl, stop looking all incredulous. I am not a bad man, I am not your nemesis. Always had a mega drive, take it back to Genesis. Worked so hard, time to reap a couple benefits. Yeah, I will not go pop, I will not go soft. When I say no means no. This is true hip hop, I do not flip flop. When I say flow mean flow. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. I will not go pop, I will not go soft. When I say no means no. This is true hip hop, I do not flip flop. When I say flow mean flow. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. This is perseverance.